Welcome to the Out on a Limb podcast. We are all interconnected to a greater web of consciousness. Our aim is to open your mind to a new world through having open-minded discussions about what we perceive our reality to be.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Out on a Limb podcast with your hosts, Will and Allison and Samantha, and our special guest today, all the way from the UK. We're so excited to welcome Fiona Jaynes, who is a light language UK channeler who awakened back in March of 2018, which is a significant date for us as well. And after many profound experiences and a dark night of the soul, she is guided on a path of unconditional love to help humanity in its awakening. Welcome.
I love that.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much. I feel very honored.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. I didn't know that it was March of 2018. I know we talked about it, and just for, the reference point here, we were introduced to Fiona through a personal session we had. You came to us for a personal session, and we just explored some things afterwards, and this is now why you're on the podcast.
It was definitely divinely inspired.
For sure. But March 18, that's the around the same time frame that I actually was introduced to my channeling. That's when I was introduced to Dolores Cannon's QHHT, went into hypnosis, and that's when I found out that I was the channeler that I am today. So it's very, very interesting, the correlation there. For sure.
You wonder how many people were awake at the time. Yeah.
We're having some synchronicities going on.
Right, right.
It really was divinely inspired. I think because you waited a whole year after having found us to asking for a session, and a lot of the information that came through you were already aware of anyway. So I think it was about way more than that. I think it was about this connection, us bringing you out to humanity to hear your lovely voice. I don't know, there's probably more down the road, but we knew at the end of our conversation that we had to have you on to share your gifts with our audience because they're beautiful. Who, in your understanding, are you channeling?
Actually, I'm channeling basically many different beings. I don't have a particular collective at this time. They have informed me that at some point I will be doing a trance channel, but that's in the future. It hasn't come forward yet. So I am very excited to share lots of different aspects of the being's flight that I've encountered so far. I have had a divine goddess, Mother Mary, God or source. I've had Archangel Michael, Archangel Uriel. I've had, who else? I've had quite a few, to be honest. I've had some Victorians come through. So there are just a few that just sort of just jump into my head right now. I've had Jesus come through briefly, but never for me, for others. So that's always been for others. There is a question mark on that one yet, so I'm quite excited about that. I am very non-religious. I was brought up non-religious. So it was a bit of a shock when I found out that God and Source was real. And it was a very profound moment. It was a beautiful experience.
If you were in a non-religious family, what would you say that your orientation was? Was it atheist or agnostic? You just didn't talk about it? Were you a very scientific family? How did that work?
Well, to be honest, I was baptized Christian. However, it was only just because it was the done thing. Everybody it was just done because it was done. It wasn't to be in a church setting. The closest I got was going to Sunday school a couple of times just to give my mum a bit of a rest.
Right.
So I just went to funerals and things like that, funerals and weddings, christenings, that sort of thing. But I wouldn't know I don't know the Bible. I've certainly not been in any sessions, so I have had a slight Christian background, but very, very the most minimal that you could have. Growing up, it was a family. I had quite a broken family, to be honest. I had a difficult childhood, but I did have experiences as a child, which I didn't realise were experiences until later on when my guidance said this was an experience, because I was so proud of myself as a child. So I had one extreme to the other. I had a dark experience, a couple of dark experiences actually, and I had this lovely, wonderful experience. And they showed me that those two were the two aspects of the dark and the light in my life already. So, you know, sort of answering your question, my life was sort of just meandering through life, trying to, you know, get through life, to be honest, because like I say, it was a difficult childhood. So I wasn't anything in particular. I will say that all I knew is that I believed in energy later on in life. I didn't know as a child, but later on in life, when I got to a point where I could understand some of the interesting experiences that I was having, I thought, you know, I do believe in energy, but I'm not sure if there's a God. And, you know, but I was open to it. But that was, I had quite a sort of normal childhood in a trauma childhood, if you know what I mean. So
when you look back then at your childhood, given that it was a little bit traumatic, do you now see the presence of your guides that were helping you to navigate then that you did not recognize?
Yes, absolutely. So the dark experience, for instance, I used to, when I was a child, I used to hide underneath the covers because I used to, as soon as it would go dark, I would see visions of what we class as sort of demon-looking faces, and it would really scare me. And I used to hide underneath the blankets, and I'd sweat so much, and I just used to peek out my head. I was so scared. And then from the other extreme, I went to school, a primary school, and we just moved because unfortunately we had to move into a hostel. So I moved to a new school briefly, and as I was coming out of school, I was only at primary school, so I was very young. I think I probably would have been about 6. And as I came out, I heard this voice. I saw this necklace on the floor, and I just heard this voice say, "Go and give that to the teacher." Now, I was in a hostel, so I had nothing, and I was a child of 6. And, you know, this gold shiny necklace on the floor, I didn't think to keep it. I just listened to the voice, picked it up and took it to the teacher and didn't think anything else of it. Anyway, to cut a long story short, as we say in England, I moved back to my old school when we got a house, and I was called to the teacher, and she said to me, "Fiona, can we speak to you?" And I was very scared, and she read out this beautiful letter of this woman who had very sentimental attachment to this necklace, and she sent me a paper £1 note at the time. Aww. And so I got sweets on the way home.
I love it. That's beautiful. I love how you were already listening to your guides. They were priming you to listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How else did it unfold then as you grew older into your teens and young adulthood? At what point did you finally start to embrace and work with these energies?
Well, I think I was meant to concentrate on because I think as a child I was sensitive, but I think I was meant to concentrate on my trauma, believe it or not. I was meant to have all that experience and not be so psychic, not be so sensitive. It was more about my experience of the darkness. So, but then the person I relied on, it seemed my mum, you know, I love her dearly, but she found it very difficult to be a mother. And so I'd stay at my nana's quite a lot. And unfortunately, I saw her as a mother. Not unfortunately, I saw her as a mother. Unfortunately, she died 4 days after my 15th birthday, but I saw her as a mother. So basically, I had nobody to turn to, and I just lost the only sort of person that was a grounding for me through everything. And then I felt alone. I was totally alone. I was bullied at school. And so it was a very difficult time for me. I left school with no qualifications because of the bullying, but I was in top band for everything at school. And so I turned to, basically the Ouija board to try and contact my mother because I didn't know any better.
Wow. Yeah.
I was so desperate to speak to my grandmother. And only one experience happened when I was connected with a mother of one of my ex-boyfriends, and she was Native American. And we connected, and it actually did something only when we connected together, not separately. So it was like our unity that connected it, and something happened then. And that's the moment I realized that everything was, more than what I thought it was. When I suddenly thought, there's more to life than just, a normal 3D experience. So after that, things started just to slowly unfold after time,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What is your feeling about a Ouija board now? I'm just curious. For people who are starting off trying to get it.
What I would say is that if you are open to everything. And there is no fear if you do not feel fear. And this is my guidance speaking now, because they want to help us understand and not create fear in people. So the most important gift that I can give to you with the Ouija board is that if you feel fear within yourself, then you have fear. If you don't, then you don't. But any time that you have felt fear, you hold it. So if you've gone through whole life without a fearful experience, then you do not hold fear. But if you have gone through life with lots of fear, then you are fearful. So any time that you have a fearful experience, you are, not holding the love that you are within you. So going back to the full question, the Ouija board is a portal. So you are opening that portal to everything, because if you don't have an intention and you haven't asked for love and light to come through before you open that portal, then you are saying, well, anybody can come through. Now, everything that we are as a human being, it offers itself to the information that comes through us. But when something does come through that isn't of a loving nature, it's purely because we have something held within us that is in need of some light and some love. Yeah. So it's important that we hold our intention, that we come with love and come with light, so we can attract that love and light. Mm-hmm. If we're going into it with fear, concern, worry, then we're offering that to it as well.
I'm glad that you brought that up. Thank you for that, because the Ouija board does get a bad rap a lot of times. And I think people don't understand that, first of all, it is a tool, like any tool, whether that be a pendulum or whatever. And it's about how you use it, and using it properly will bring you gifts. Using it improperly may bring you a little bit of trouble that you have to reconcile later.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what my guidance want to, put across is we have free will, we can make our own decisions, and we can use any tool to connect to any energy. What do we come with? That's the most important thing. What's our intention? How do we feel about ourselves? Because that's what we're putting out to the universe.
That's a beautiful way to say that. Yeah.
Because our host here, Samantha, is you're a psychic medium, and you started kind of with tarot.
I started with
things
tarot,
like that. And I'm curious,
all that kind of stuff.
What is your take on those types of tools and things? Like, what has your experience been then?
Well, because I did Ouija board when I was a teenager with my sister and a bunch of other people as a lark.
Right.
And that was a terrifying experience. Like it took control, like it went flying off, and it was scary. And so then, of course, that kind of, I bought into all the fear and all that stuff. And I didn't know enough about any of that then. But I never really looked at tarot like, a cult. Like I know people would say that. And I had people who would say, oh, this is of the devil. You're working with the devil and stuff. And I remember, because I did this, started 35 years ago. And people were not kind back then about it. But it just felt like a natural, it just got me going. It was just a doorway. And I never saw, I'm one of those people, I never saw the negative. Like I didn't sit there and say, there's these beings that want to come and take over or do horrible things.
Right.
So for me, it was always, just a way to get information and that it was always going to be the highest. I never did all the protective light bubble stuff and all that because my intention was this is always going to be a good experience. So from that point, it's always been a good experience. I don't appreciate that like Hollywood has now done the tarot movie.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to put people in a lot of fear. So if they do pick and also make them interested in tarot. So they're going to pick up a tarot deck with that fear, just like you're saying with the Ouija board. So intention, it's all your intention.
Exactly. The intention is everything. Everything that we create comes from an intention as a human being. It's important that we treat everything with our hearts and our love, and then we bring that. And love is the most important gift that we can give to anything, regardless of what tool that we decide to use. So I actually was gifted a pack of tarot cards, and they're angel tarot cards. So they've got the proper tarot cards, but they actually got angels on them. Now this is before I awakened, and that's what I was saying. Over time, I kept on getting these angel gifts. People kept on giving me angel gifts. So I did not know I was going to be in contact with the angels. I just kept on getting these angel gifts, and so it was lovely. And the first thing I had was a pack of angel tarot cards. So, and that was a gift of love.
And now you even have, what did you call it? Angelic GPS?
Yes.
What is that?
Angelic SATNAV.
SATNAV. That's what it was.
After we
SATNAV.
finished our session, she was, what is
I'm like,
this?
what is SATNAV?
What is this? And I had to explain to her that
Satellite navigation,
Right.
SATNAV.
Yeah.
And they help you with parking spots and so forth.
It is amazing. So basically, I'll give you an example. So I was actually had a new start on a job, and I planned my route, and I got to my route, and of course the road had been closed, and there was a diversion. And of course you're on a time. You've allowed a little bit of time, but as I was going up to the diversion, it was turning the total opposite way of where I wanted to go. And I was panicking now, thinking, well, how longer is this going to take? It's taking me in the opposite direction of where I want to go. So I said, angels, please help me. Because at this point, we've got a really good relationship and they could speak to me. So I was like, please help me. I have no idea where I need to go. So they literally just said, turn right. So I turned right, and then they literally took hold of the steering wheel, and I just let them guide. I just had no clue where I was going. I didn't know where I was. I just trusted. And then eventually I got onto a road that I knew, and they guided me, and I got there in time. And that's happened more than once. So, it's happened. Anytime I need it, I just ask them. And I also started asking for the spot. That started happening as well now.
Why not?
I've got another one as well, very quickly. I was going shopping for my granddaughter, and on the way there, I was going to park at a supermarket, which meant I would have had to have gone into the supermarket to buy something. And they said, don't go there, go to this other one where I would have had to have paid, but it's closer to where I wanted to go. And and so I said, okay. So I thought, but I'm going to have to pay for parking, at least I'm getting something from the supermarket. Anyway, I just did what they told me. I didn't know where I was going. They took over the direction of where I needed to go. And I got onto another road again that I knew, I know where I am now. I got to the car park, and the meter was broken, so I didn't have to pay.
Of course it was. I love that. That is fantastic. The interesting thing about this, Ouija board discussion is that you mentioned that when you open that portal, you're opening that to the all, to the everything, to the quantum field, all of that. And within all of that is light and dark, as we've talked about. It is good and bad and up and down and light and dark and all of the polarities, because we live in a polarity world. That is what our 3D world is. So I know that you have had a lot of experience with both the dark and the light. So tell us why it's so important for us to understand how to balance it, and why the goal is not to push all the dark out and only live in the light. That's kind of, it sounds like what we want to do, but that's really not appropriate. Tell us your perspective about that.
Well, thank you for that. It's a wonderful question. And I think it's very important that people understand that darkness is not an enemy. It makes us feel uncomfortable. It makes us look at our morals, our ways of being, but it is an experience, just as it is in the light. An experience is what we come here for. We come here because where we come from, or where we are, what we are, is love, is light, but we come here to experience what the opposite is, so that we can see ourselves, because we can't see ourselves when we're all light. We can only see light, love, 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 love. So when we have a darkness, we can go, I can see that I'm kind. I can see that I'm compassionate. I can see that I'm this beautiful, magnificent being. And when you have that reflection of darkness, that gives you that. So my guidance showed me that even though I'm having these experiences, even though I have felt these experiences, that each one is a gift to show me something that I have brought into this existence, this experience, to understand something deeper about myself, not anyone else. Darkness is how you see it. Everything is perceived. Nothing has everything. So when you look at God, you have everything and nothing. But when you have nothing, then you have something to fulfill. And fulfillment is important. Looking at ourselves is important. So when we see ourselves in the darkness, then it highlights who we are. Mm-hmm. So my guides have shown me many times that it's a gift, even though it's not a nice experience from our ego point of view. But the truth is, then we understand what is and what isn't us. Mm-hmm. So everything has a purpose, and so does the darkness.
Exactly. So understanding that the darkness is not our enemy is so important. And really, it's all vibration anyway. And so they've explained to us that when you are, from their perspective, the higher level perspective, and you see things, you're seeing the vibration of it. And that's why in the 3D, when you feel those lower vibrations, they feel discordant. And then we label them, because we can in physicality, and put a picture of a demon or a picture of the devil or whatever it is, and label them as bad, as evil, or whatever. Whereas in the higher dimensions, they're not forming things into 3D reality. So they're only seeing the vibrations. So they say, if you could see it from our perspective, you would just see different vibrational levels. It's
what we're conditioned to in the human aspect. I mean, it's what we take in, it's what we've been taught, it's what we've been, it's what we've viewed on TV or the movies or whatever. It's
story tales from when we were kids, Grimm's, Grimm fairy tale.
Right, exactly. It's all of that kind of builds that library that we have to then use to fill in the blanks when we sense something that we don't quite understand or like or whatever. We put those negative things against it. It's not like they already exist. It's just that's what we're aligned to at that point. So, but
what's fascinating to me is that you learn from these things. So when we have clients that come to us with, they feel like they might have an attachment or a negative energy or something that's following them or stuck in their field, it is fascinating to me as the facilitator of our channeling sessions to explore that and to talk to it, to bring it forward, talk to it. Why did you come in? At what age did you come in? What are you here to teach the client? okay,
That's
sorry,
cool.
thank you for your service, but you got to go now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, it is a learning tool. It's always here to teach us something. Has that been your experience?
Well, now from obviously from my awakening, yes, my guides taught me that, and that's why they showed me that I actually had darkness from childhood. Since I was a baby, I was an innocent child, and I could hear darkness even then, and I didn't know. I didn't have much experience then, so and that is because I was always meant to understand darkness in a later part of my life. And I had some very beautiful divine experiences with darkness in it. So, for instance, I had a vision, and I was lying one day in bed, and this voice said to me, "Do you believe that God is unconditional love?" And I said, "Yes." And they brought a picture of the devil, and I don't believe in the devil, but they brought this picture of the devil, and they touched the devil, and it turned into this beautiful angel. And they showed me that there was many perspectives that you can have from that. The first one I took was that God's unconditional love is that there's no darkness in unconditional love, and it's all transformed if you are coming from unconditional love. And later on, they showed me that we can perceive different ways of looking at darkness because of our just exactly what you were saying. From what we're shown is technically evil, but we've labeled it. And we have put pictures to it, and we've put actions to it, and we said this is not who we are. But then we judge it, and obviously that is where the unconditional love comes in, because there is no judgment in unconditional love. So from a higher perspective, everything is love. There is no darkness. I had an experience actually where I was watching a documentary, and it was about this beautiful African lady, and she unfortunately had been locked in a cupboard due to some unrest in Africa for quite a long time. And unfortunately, there was a lot of killing involved in a lot of ethnic groups. And I wasn't expecting to see that, because it was a documentary about a spiritual awakening. And I was like, oh no, I really don't want to watch this. But as I was watching it, all of a sudden, I felt this unconditional love for the people that were acting out the atrocities. So if it was real, they were showing me that this is what is felt. Either it's just like watching an image, but nothing is felt except unconditional love for them. And it was a beautiful experience, and it made me understand what unconditional love truly feels like when you're watching something that we class as unkind. They have no judgment of it. It's an experience that, even though it's not a kindness to our hearts and it ends life, our life is continuous anyway. Our physical experience is a very small part of our full existence of internal love. But we have honoured everything by seeing anything with unconditional love. But the darkness is an experience of depending on how dark it is, create a brighter light. So as we see our darkness within us, it creates a light even brighter, because if you were just to call somebody a name, then it's a gift of understanding that it's unkind to do that. And I actually had that experience also as a child. I only ever bullied once, and I had the whole class. I was stood up in an assembly and told, basically called out in my whole assembly in front of everyone. Very traumatic for me, but I tell you, I never did it again. And
Wow.
that experience made me feel so much embarrassment and shame, but I was meant to have that experience because look what it did for me. Look what I learned from it, and exactly what you were saying before. Darkness has its purpose, but you can perceive it in any way you choose. You can choose to love someone who has given darkness. Forgiveness is giving love to darkness. So when somebody has killed another, say parents have lost a child to someone and they can forgive that person, they have come with love. But it not only heals them, but actually, because you send love to that person, they are in need of help. They are in need of not the negative feelings, but the loving feelings, because the more love that you can send someone, the more you can help them to see their own heart and create an experience for them that will show them that they are loved.
Gosh, that is such a good example. It reminds me when we were living in Texas and our house was burglarized while we were in it in the middle of the night.
Oh,
Wow.
It was pretty traumatic. And we had a young baby at the time.
We never interacted with those that were in the house. It
was pretty close.
Yeah, very close, but we never interacted with them. Yeah.
And at the time I was involved in the church, and I don't, even though I was raised conservative Christian, I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, there were some beautiful things within the church. And I remember the godparents of my child talking to me the next day, and I was lamenting what happened and how angry and upset and traumatized I was. And she said, "We need to pray for the burglar." And I said, "Who the hell's side are you on? What are you talking about?" And here I am coming from a Christian perspective, and I'm like, I'm not ready to forgive this person. He just took our family through this horrific experience that was ongoing for weeks after. It was terrible. And I remember being angry at her for suggesting that. Maybe it was just too soon, but now I completely understand that. And it isn't about it is not about condoning the behavior at all. It is about
Exactly.
understanding, and forgiveness is simply about the understanding from the higher perspective, from God's perspective, and seeing all of that. And of course, the people who commit the crimes are the ones in most need of our love and support.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, and thank you for sharing that, because that is a beautiful example, to be honest. And I love the fact that you weren't ready. But what that does is it shows you the growth that you've had now. And so you have had to go through many different experiences and feelings and emotions to get to that point where you were ready. And, the most important gift that we have in this world is that we can grow from any experience, no matter what it is. And that's what we come here for. We come for growth. Now, if we did not have darkness on this world, we would not be able to grow. We can exist in pure joy, and we'd have Eden on earth.
Yeah. Right.
And we'd have a beautiful planet. However, there's no growth. Creativity, is not needed. We can create in love, but it doesn't give us the same, because everything is love. We're not on that roller coaster ride of emotions.
Right.
And, humanity loves a drama. And, and that is the gift of being here, is to have that roller coaster of emotions and grow from it. And then when we do transcend, we look back and go, wow, look at all the emotions and experience we had, because you're never alone. Your darkness is there, but you're never alone. Your spirit guides and your angels and your family in whatever star system or whatever connections that you have are all with you. And they're able to be in your life and maybe whisper a little bit of something to try and give you a little bit of support, or you have a sudden inspiration or feeling, but they're there to support us in our darkest moments. And we come here for that experience. And that is really important to try and understand within us. We may not be ready, but if we can hold that within ourselves, then when we are ready, we can then grow from it and love ourselves for it, be proud of ourselves for it, be and even you bringing that up, Alison, you know, you've brought that up, and now that's a gift for someone else.
Yeah.
So that experience you had, which was very difficult and a blessing at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, all of our challenges and learning are gifts for others.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the emotions. Emotions are so important. I think we discount the importance of them, and we want to rid ourselves of them a lot of times. But our understanding is there are certain galactic beings that sort of bred out the emotion because they felt that the intellect, that was more important, and the emotions are a hindrance. And when we're in the throes of an emotional breakdown, it is a hindrance. Nobody wants to be in that and wallow in that, or you might not be able to go to work because you're crying or whatever it is. But we are told time and time again by the higher beings that our emotionality is one of the most unique things and the most important things in the human experience, and that other beings learn from that as well.
Exactly. And that's the gift. My guides want to come in here, and they're saying that that is the gift of our desire to come here. We have honored everything that we are in all connections that we are by coming here, having this experience, and allowing ourselves to feel all of the emotions, because they do play an integral part of universe creation. They create from our feelings. So when we have lots of joy, we create a whole universe. When we have loads of sadness, then we create more love.
Interesting.
That's
I
interesting.
like that.
Yeah, I was not expecting that, and that hit me. It's kind of like drop the mic moment. I was like, okay.
Yeah. That's
So
beautiful. That is beautiful.
It is, right? Lots of good nuggets here. But getting back to your whole awakening then, would you say that your awakening process was just really gradual over time, or was there a defining moment in your awakening? And was there part of a dark night of the soul involved in all of that?
Well, that's a wonderful question, and it's layered is the best way to tell you. Before I had my major awakening, I'm going to say, in March 2018, I was I called myself slightly psychic. So I did have experiences, and just before my major awakening, I started having spirit come through. I used to work in the ambulance service, and I was able to give a colleague, for instance, 3 times her grandmother come through. And the last one, she asked me, well, basically I was at a hospital and I saw this colleague that I'd given 2 messages before about. And I went into my ambulance, and I saw her go past into her ambulance, and I got guided to go in. And I immediately went in and just went up to her and said, "Are you pregnant?" She said, and she looked at me and she went, "No, but I'm trying." Now, I already knew they had a little boy, and she said, "But we're having problems conceiving," basically. I said, "Well, your grandma's here, and she says you're going to have a little boy, and she's so happy." And I was so frightened, because I thought, what if she doesn't get pregnant? I've just said this is a major thing to say to someone. I said, "Well, she might mean your little boy." I was a bit concerned that, Anyway, a month later, I was in the corridor with another colleague, and they said, "Guess what? Such and such is pregnant." Well, you could have dropped me down with a feather. I was like, no. So basically, she got pregnant, and I saw her at training, and she had this lovely big, beautiful baby bump. And I said, "Oh, do you know what you're having?" And she said, "No." I said, "Well, remember, your nana said that you're going to have a boy." And she rubbed her belly. She says, "I want a girl," because she'd already got a little boy. And a few weeks later, on Facebook, lo and behold, she's had a little boy. So that's just one little beautiful experience that I could experience. So I was having little psychic experience, but it got very strong just before and that they were just random. They would just happen out of the blue. And they, and I could go a whole year, months without anything, and then boom, something just come through. Then my awakening happened when there was a family drama, and my ex-husband had a difficulty. So to deal with because I'm quite a positive person, so I'd never meditated in my life. So I decided to start meditating. And after about 2 weeks, I started feeling this energy. Now, I had felt energy before a little bit, but nothing like this. It was moving my hands, and they're putting my hands together. And I didn't know what they were, so I looked them up and I found out it was called mudras. And my hands were, connecting together and doing this. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was just very curious, and that's how it started. And then I started feeling energy more and more. Then I visited a friend who's a psychic artist, and I was telling her all the problems we were having, and she decided to do some channel drawing, sorry. She wanted me to do it. And I did do this little, I think it was a little face. But I felt my mum's ex-husband who'd passed away next to me. Anyway, so I was excited because I thought, oh, I've done something. So I went home, I had a go, and then I got Archangel Michael through. Well, again, not something I've ever planned in my life. And the next minute, I'm doing a lot of channel writing. And then I started feeling more energy. I started connecting to music, and the music was amazing. I was literally felt like I was like a speaker, and the music was coming through me, not just listening to it. I was part of the music. Then I started having these bliss moments, and I one day I was walking to the chickens. I had chickens there. I went into the garden, and suddenly this energy hit me, and it was so strong that, and as I looked around, everything was beautiful. I just stared around for about 15 minutes, looking around at how beautiful my garden was in this bliss. And then suddenly I came out of it, and I even took a picture of the tree. And the next time I looked at the picture, it's just a picture of a tree. But at the time, it was the most beautiful tree I've ever seen in my life. So I started having all these weird, experiences, but I did not know there was a God. Again, I thought, there's energy. I'm starting to feel energy. I did not know if there was a Jesus, didn't know if there was a God or anything like that. Then one day, this voice said to me, in the end, I was having so many experiences that I said to this energy, I said, if you're real, because, I'm in ambulance service, I'm thinking, am I going crazy with all these experiences? Because they're sort of heightened up.
Right.
And so I asked for a sign, and I said, could I have a woodpecker? Because I'd only ever seen one woodpecker in the garden. And maybe a week or so passed, and all of a sudden I heard this voice, and it said to me, what you are looking for is God. And the moment that they said that, I saw the woodpecker on the tree. And that's the moment I knew God was real.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe it. I was pacing up and down going, oh my gosh, God's real. God's real. Look at me.
Oh.
It was like as if God had just stood in front of me and said, hello. I just couldn't believe that it was actually real. So then I had some more major experiences, and then one day another major energy hit me like a ton of bricks, and it said, you are God. And suddenly I had this panic over me because it felt fully real. Like, I felt like I was God. And I thought, how am I going to run the world? It'll make you laugh now. How am I going to run the world? I'm a human being and I'm God.
Yeah.
My mind, how am I going to run the world? I'm God. So they said, don't worry, you're the daughter of God. And I was like, oh, that's okay, that's fine, I can go with that.
I love this. Lesson 1, God is real. Lesson 2, you are God.
Right.
And then they showed me a picture of God, and this is humor because, love is very humorous. And I did not know what this meant for about 3 years before they finally told me what it meant. they showed me God on holiday in a lounger underneath a palm tree on a beach with his sunglasses, looking out to the sea, sort of thing, proper, on holiday. And they said, God's on holiday. And then they told me 3 years later that what that meant was, I've forgotten who I am and I'm on holiday.
That's beautiful, actually.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yes.
Wowza.
Yes. You're just here.
God
You're here in the human form on holiday.
He's having
Exactly. You are on holiday
life.
for being
Yeah.
God.
8 billion holidays right now at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're all on holiday together.
All on holiday together.
Oh my gosh, that was a great story. Thank
I
you for
love
all of that. I think, Fiona, if I recall correctly, you mentioned that you would be welcome to bring your guides present to give a message for our audience or for humanity in general. How are they feeling about that?
Yes, they are very happy to bring through a message. And they also do light language. And if you are happy with that, they would love to give a blessing to all the audience in light language also.
That would be lovely.
That'd be
Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay, lovely. One moment. I just need a moment.
Yep.
Nara tusoro kia. Dono tusoro hoyaya. Nas orokonot oyat iya. Dos orokiatia nos orara. Onot os ara ko ot aya. Noro ot ara ko ot iat iya. Tonos ororo kia. Mara tonoso. Thank you for this gift. We are truly grateful to speak with you. We are here, we are here, we are here. Every time that you look upon yourself, you see the gift of who you are. You see your name, your features, your body. And when you look upon yourself, you may criticize it or you may love it. But the truth is that every gift that you feel within yourselves is a moment that you have understood something. You have understood that in that moment, you are multidimensional. Your mind does not know this. Your personality does not know this, but the true self does. And so when you look upon yourself and you see the gifts of sadness or pain, and you look upon all that you are and you see maybe a being of so much sadness that you feel that it is not worth anything. And we say to you that it is worth everything. You are a gift in the world, no matter what you are, who you are, what you have done, and where you are going. You have brought life into the world, into the collective. You honor everything you are by being you. You do not need to do anything. You do not need to practice anything. You are perfect, exactly the way you are. Every being that has ever been on planet Earth has given. Everyone. No matter if you are the highest, as you say in ego, or the lowest, as you say in ego. Of course, we do not see it that way. We do not see your light and your dark, for we are love, we are love, we are love. We see only the joy that you are. And we know that you are here for an experience, and so does your true self. Your true self is a beautiful gift of eternal love created by all that is. And in that moment that you were created, you understood exactly what you wanted to be, do, and grow into. And when we say into, it is not into what you may think is ego. It is the gift of love in your heart that is present. For as you grow, you create love. As you become more, you create love. As you look upon yourself, you create love. So when you have a loving feeling, a kindness, a joy, and a happiness, it is everything to you in your true self, because you have created that which is needed in humanity, that which is needed to create more expansion for humanity. For when you are in a sadness and a pain, it limits everything that you are in your true self. But when you are kind and joyful and loving and compassionate and all the beautiful gifts of your heart that bring you joy, then you have created more of yourself. So that expands the love that you are. So when you are feeling sad, there is no judgment upon any of that. And we do not judge you. We say to you, we love you and we give you love because you cannot see the love that you are. We honor you and help you and guide you, but we do not judge you. And we say it again, we do not judge you. You are judging yourself, and there is no need. There is no need. And so we give this gift to you in all of our hearts, and we say to you, all is love, all is love, all is love. I am.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Thank you, guides. Thank you, Fiona. That was lovely. What a note. What a note to
just like,
close. Yeah.
I love that when you're sad, it's kind of like you're in this neutral, but when you're, moving into that happy space, you're like creating and expanding and becoming so much more. Like that is just, that was really pretty.
It's almost though that like the sadness creates the soil in which you can create.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful metaphor.
Yeah.
Just like the way artists have inspiration in turmoil sometimes, Van Gogh and all of those. And so I think that, it forms the fertilizer perhaps.
That's it. I mean, actors, they have to draw upon their sad emotions in order to, if they were just all love, you wouldn't have the drama that everybody loves. Right. So, they can understand an emotion because they've been through it. And that is the truth, to be honest, in everything, so it was a beautiful example. The darkness is the soil, but we can plant the seed of love within it and grow a beautiful bloom. Yes. A beautiful flower with as much vibrancy as you want it to be, as much color as you want it to be, and as much light as you want it to be.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Gosh, and our whole hour has flown by talking to you and your lovely guides. Are you seeing clients at this time, Fiona?
I do see people. I like to be there for people. Currently, at this moment in time, I am holding a lot of space for myself, but I know that they are planning to help more people later on. I feel I'm going through a big change right now. So I will be becoming more present and be able to take on more people. Currently at the moment, I have been helping people for free. However, at this time, I am taking donations only if they want to. I don't ask for donations, you see. They have to want to do it because they want to do it from their heart. So there's no judgment if they didn't, because I know what it's like when I want to speak to someone and I haven't got a lot of money. So my guides have asked me not to charge at this time. So, but if someone can't afford to have a session, that's fine. If somebody can afford a session and they want to donate, and I put brackets around that, if they want to donate, then that is always received, because it's been given with love. I can take it as love, but I'm not asking at this time for money. If people want to get in contact with me, they can email the Positive Angel Community at hotmail.com. I'm also do have a Positive Angel group on Facebook. You can join the group there, and also contact me via Messenger. And also I do have the Positive Angel TikTok. I haven't put a lot on my social media because, as I said, it's been quite low radar really, because I've been concentrating predominantly on myself and letting the universe bring people to me. But I am able to help people, and my guidance will guide me through what is needed for that person.
And who to connect with and all of that. That's beautiful. We'll put all of that in the show notes for you. In case somebody really feels called to reach out to Fiona. It'll be there. And we thank you so much for gracing us with your lovely presence for this hour, for our audience, and blessing them with that light language transmission and the beautiful words of your guides. Thank you so much, Fiona.
Well, thank you for having me, and I wish everyone a wonderful and blessed evening or day, wherever they are.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thanks to our audience for watching today. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share, if you will, far and wide, so that everybody can benefit from this beautiful message. Until next time.
See y'all.
See you later.